Is Conor McGregor really serious about fighting at UFC 303? Or is he just wasting Michael Chandler and everybody else's time? UFC commentator Jon Anik has made a startling revelation about the fight, whereas Michael Chandler himself has a lot to say about it as well. But before we hear what the two have to say, let's quickly recap the past few days, which have been super confusing for UFC fans. The story goes like this. The UFC abruptly canceled the UFC 303 Dublin press conference, leaving fans and media speculating about the reasons behind it. The lack of a clear explanation from the UFC fueled rumors and theories, with some speculating about the possibility of a Conor McGregor injury or a failed drug test being the cause for the cancellation. Josh Thompson was among the first ones to claim that McGregor was injured, and he even cited credible sources to back his claims.
The couple of sources that I've heard from was that he's dealing with a little bit of an injury, Conor is, and so that that he should be good to go for the fight time. But if he is dealing with the injury, that they didn't want him visually being seen at the press conference, so they didn't want to expose that. I don't know whether he was in a walking boot, I don't know what it is. I'm simply saying that I heard that he's dealing with a little bit of an injury. So
could it be, hold on, and seriously, I'm being serious when I say this. Could it be that somehow in training he got cut?
Possibly.
And he doesn't want Chandler to see where that cut's at?
The speculation surrounding Conor McGregor's potential injury during fight camp intensified when videos of him partying and drinking with his fiancée, Dee Devlin, went viral. There was speculation among fans that the last-minute cancellation of the press conference might be linked to either a failed drug test or an injury that McGregor sustained while partying. However, top MMA journalist Ariel Helwani quickly dismissed the claims by saying, "I see a lot of people wondering what it could be. I can tell you right now with 100% certainty, confirmed 1000%, that nothing with regards to any sort of legal issue, incident of any kind, drama of any kind, criminal thing of any kind, fight of any kind, alcohol, this, that, like none of that is at play here. There's nothing regarding any sort of drug testing or anti-doping or anything like that." In a tweet, Helwani said that he's positive that the fight will happen, although he hasn't heard anything from the UFC. No news at the moment. The hope is still that the fight is on. There is positivity, I'd say, but they have sent out feelers to see who might be able to fill in, either as a replacement or an entirely new fight at the top of the bill. Still developing and still some time. Just a couple of days back, Michael Chandler dropped a major hint suggesting that his fight with McGregor was indeed canceled. He took to Instagram to share a photo indicating that he was back in his hometown of Tennessee and was presumably no longer training. "If you're looking for me, I'll be out in Tennessee. No way out of the life we chose. Walk on. See you at the top." However, when McGregor posted training videos on Instagram amid growing speculation of the fight's cancellation, Chandler was quick to post videos of him working out as well, and he added a cryptic caption that said, "Usually I don't alter my traditions." So what traditions did Chandler have to alter? With the fight up in the air for now, MMA professionals have all sorts of reactions to the news. Many people in the MMA community think Michael Chandler might be wasting his time pursuing a fight with Conor McGregor. One of them is Demetrius Johnson, who believes Chandler should focus on fighting someone else.
For me, if I was Chandler, I understand, I want to try to get him on the Mighty Cast to talk about this fight with Conor, because as an athlete, you make your money when you compete. Chandler hasn't, I can't remember the last time Chandler competed. I don't know if it was against Charles or Dustin or Justin.
Yeah.
I just don't know. It doesn't ring a bell in my mind, right? So for me, he's been waiting on the sidelines to fight Conor McGregor. This might never happen, right? I mean, Conor like, fuck you guys. I don't need none of your fucking money. I don't need none of you guys. I'm on the fucking the yacht. You know what I mean? So that could potentially happen. And then it's like Chandler waited all this time, or it does happen. So that's what I feel right now, is that I just feel like Chandler might be wasting his time. I don't know. That's how I feel.
Daniel Cormier is warning fans to prepare for potentially disappointing news in the coming days. He believes there's a significant chance that the fight could either be canceled or postponed.
Vincent's gonna smack you in the face. Listen,
It's
man,
a tell.
let me be your friend and tell you, start to brace yourself a little bit for disappointment. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, Chael, but let me tell you something about the UFC. Now, Dana White will argue and scream at the media. Dana White will give the media a hard time. Dana White has no problem letting the media down, Chael. You know who Dana White doesn't like letting down? The fans. Doesn't like letting fans down. And when the press conference was canceled, you saw people on Twitter, people on Instagram, speaking of having their travel, being prepared to go and watch, flying over to Dublin to watch a presser. That's disappointment. Dana White also doesn't like letting them down, and he tries to over-deliver for fans. So, to me, it feels like this is a big deal. Look, I have reached out to many in the organization to try to find out what happened. And when everybody's tight-lipped as they are right now, to me, that tells me it's a little worrisome.
John Anik empathizes with Michael Chandler's predicament, and he recognizes the frustration of being in such an uncertain situation. Chandler hasn't fought since November 22nd, and at 37 years old, time isn't on his side in the sport, according to Anik, who made a bombshell revelation that the UFC is actively exploring alternative options.
This fight being potentially in jeopardy is a really inconvenient reality for Michael Chandler right now, because once he had a date, I feel like he was pretty convicted that this fight was going to happen, and maybe it actually will. But so much has been made of the Conor McGregor side of this that I'm sort of inclined to lead with Michael Chandler today. Now, there are reports that maybe they're looking for an alternate opponent or fight. It's just absolutely crazy. I mean, I don't want to speculate, right? But I do know that, broken legs are hard to come back from.
According to former UFC middleweight champion Luke Rockhold, Conor McGregor is playing games, but not to hype up the fight. Rockhold thinks McGregor won't fight at all. He's just messing with Chandler.
I don't think so. I think he's been toying with Chandler this whole time, and as you can see with Chandler's like he's going back to his other businesses and his family and doing a lot of searching for the answers. And Conor is just being Conor, and Conor is a gangster. He's a gangster. He's doing his thing. It's fucked up.
Now, the story has taken a couple more intriguing twists. Firstly, Michael Chandler recently appeared on the Pivot podcast, where he asserted that the fight will go as planned.
Mike, what's happening?
Fight camp, man. Got this fight coming up.
You think?
I hope, yeah.
We hope, right?
No, the fight's happening. Obviously, where we are right now, there's a lot of speculation, but the fight is on June 29th. It's happening.
The UFC's recent social media moves add another layer to the story. Right after the press conference cancellation, the UFC made all of McGregor's free fights on YouTube private, but now they've released a new fight promo, sparking fresh excitement among fans for the blockbuster fight. It's possible that Conor McGregor's situation involves contract negotiations with the UFC, as suggested by Chael Sonnen. McGregor reportedly has 2 fights remaining on his current UFC contract, so there's a chance that negotiations didn't go as planned. This speculation raises questions about whether McGregor is experiencing a similar renegotiation process to what Francis Ngannou went through before leaving the UFC.
Conor McGregor, 2 days prior to the announcement of the press conference, told the world that he's in the renegotiation phase by the UFC, that the UFC has reached out to begin those talks. And one of the reasons it was unique, we're trying to figure out what happens with Conor. Where's Conor gonna go? Does he want out of his contract? Does he need a carve out? Pursue the Manny Pacquiao boxing, just for example. We're trying to guess. But Conor did reveal for us not only that these negotiations or talks are going on, but that he has 2 fights left on his contract. Now, historically, fighters don't get to that point of the renegotiation until there's 1 fight, and that includes Conor.
Maybe it was Conor McGregor's way of bullying the UFC into accepting his demands. After all, if there's one man who can do it, it's the notorious one, who promises the greatest comeback in UFC history. He actually makes a stellar comeback and defeats Chandler with as many style points as possible. Islam Makhachev will be waiting to lock horns with him. The UFC lightweight champ recently said that a fight against McGregor makes more sense than a fight against Arman Tsarukyan. Although the Russian doesn't think the Irishman will ever fight again. Islam said, and I quote, "To be honest, the McGregor fight looks more interesting in terms of media attention and in all respects. but I don't think he'll even show up for his next fight. We've all seen that video, plus they canceled the press conference in Dublin. I don't think he'll be able to make it to the fight. Even if he does, I think Chandler will win. He's more focused, he's been training hard, he looks more hungry. Michael Chandler faced defeat in his last bout against Dustin Poirier by third round submission at UFC 281 in November 2022. Since then, Iron Michael has remained inactive, prioritizing securing a fight with Conor McGregor. Some believe Chandler should have pursued other fights after his November 2022 match, which could have led to another opportunity at the UFC lightweight title. However, he only wants one fight, and that's the Red Panty Night. The reason is simple. Conor McGregor's presence in combat sports is immense, and it more often than not leads to lucrative paydays for his opponents. That's primarily the reason why Michael Chandler is willing to sit around and wait for a fight with McGregor, despite it costing him precious time in his career. For Chandler, the financial gain and the chance to elevate his brand by facing McGregor are substantial, while staying active in the octagon could have been a wise move considering the broader benefits. Chandler's choice to wait makes sense. The question remains, is McGregor genuinely considering the fight with Chandler, or is he simply playing games? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.